Welcome back to Tenpines Bluff, where I decided to create an institution. After checking out your suggestions, my first move was to remove the big blocks and replace them with a tunnel and another room. I encountered a slight issue with the greenhouse roof clipping into the floor, so I had to remove it and then place it again after the roof. I like how it nicely snapped, despite being a bitch a second ago. The entrance door to the tunnel is under these stairs. I wanted to make it inconvenient, so everyone knows that this isn't a door you should be entering unless you know what is behind it. When designing the actual room, I decided to leave the big blocks on the right and only remove the ones on the left. I don't know why, the gods must have placed this thought into my mind. Now I went to these stairs that used to lead to the super small room, and I wanted to completely separate this area with both walls and a door. Access to this room will be very limited for multiple reasons. And now the item placement. This large room will be a general testing area where the doctors will do their best to inspect the health of the two farmers. I also added a washer and a dryer in this right corner. We gotta keep the sheets nice and clean at all times. There are also a few rugs to make sure everyone is happy. I found a nice large baby statue and placed it outside. I'm aware it's just a regular fountain, but this is the baby statue. Whenever a baby enters this settlement, it needs to be put into the baby statue and left there for exactly 42 days. I went back inside and added a few more items to make the ambience respectable, with some toilet paper and ceiling fans. To make sure we can take care of unconscious motherfuckers, I added 2 medical gurneys in the corner, and as always 2 wheelchairs for legless motherfuckers. The center has an electronics board that will be used to transmit data across various institute locations. I also attempted to add these Venetian blinds to the windows, but immense dicklessness stopped me from doing it. This room that has a nice view of the greenhouse has a few crafting items, such as the armor station, chemistry station, and the weapon station. I placed the power armor station in this corner on the upper floor. At this moment the rug alert started popping up in my mind, and I knew I had to create an altar. This altar contains a few levels of these black square rugs and a meat bag on top. There are bloody chem boxes on the corners and bloody shit in between. Bloody carts and cages are on the side. This place is used to honor the super mutant experiments within this settlement. But what super mutant experiments am I blabbering about? Well, remember that new tunnel and room that has multiple entrances and isn't meant for everyone. That is going to be the super mutant testing area. Before entering the room, there is this door and a couple of bloody items scattered around to give a sense of what is going on inside. In this room, I wanted to create yet another room that will be like a holding cell for the test subjects, while the doctors will do stuff on the outside. I didn't really know which walls to use, because I had to update my mods and the interface got totally fucked, so all kinds of items are everywhere. At first I wanted to place a brick wall, but it turns out I don't love brick. I went with the pier walls, but I couldn't snap shit and it kinda didn't look nice, so I removed the floor and gave it the full pier look. On the outside I added a nice bed for testing, and on the inside a shitty mattress. However, a shitty mattress isn't as shitty without a proper shitty toilet right next to it, so I added that too. I felt a tiny bit bad about the poor bastard, so here, a water fountain to lower the shittiness. The outer area has a few more tables and a counter that has a sink, because the test subjects will often smell worse than shit, so hand washing will be very important. I obviously needed to add acoustic panels across the entire wall, because there will be a lot of screaming because of these tests, and we want to make sure that the sounds don't bounce around too much. I also put an oxygen tank in the corner that isn't really an oxygen tank, it contains the pussy smoke of virgin monkeys that is inhaled by the test subjects. Super Mutant testing room is now ready for usage, and it contains everything necessary to turn a normal person into a savage monkey pussy smoke inhaling monster. The next room is yet another suggestion, to create a Giddy Up Buttercup shrine. Obviously I placed rugs first and then put 4 horses on top. I added a flag of freedom behind them and a moose picture on the side. As I was browsing different items, I came across these beautiful cages and jail fences. I immediately went back to the Super Mutant testing room and not only replaced the wall, but I also added a cage within the jail room. This process took forever because snapping decided to tickle my ass to the point where I needed to visit my doctor and ask him if I had ass maggots. Luckily I do not, and I was eventually able to achieve this wonderful design. Unfortunately, the test subject will not have a bed, and for the majority of the night they will only have this toilet to sit on. The door placement was a stupid little kid, and it slid on the side through the wall, which was annoying, but I couldn't fix it. It wouldn't want to open normally, so I had to leave it as it is. So now we're back at the horse shrine. I put 2 statues on the side, real American statues, and put the barbed fence around it. This fence caused around 27 milligrams of fuckery because it doesn't snap, and the clipping is a little bit strict. I had to change the way I built them a few times in order to get proper alignment. This is the shrine of the 4 horses of freedom. Next room is the living quarters for the doctors. I didn't want to crowd the place, so I designed it for only 2 people. This room has 2 beds, while the center area has a table with chairs that will be used for discussions, eating, or whatever else the doctors decide to do. This walled off room is the bathroom that has a glowy shower, a nice large sink, and a toilet on the opposite side of it. This way they can not only look at themselves while taking a shit, but they can also very quickly wash their hands once they're done. I came across the stereo in my inventory, so I added it as well to the center room. Despite being so high-tech, the dogs do enjoy some classical music. The only room left is the kitchen. I placed a nice refrigerator, a couple of counters, and a small cooking station on top of one. Before adding lights and conduits, I needed a power room, and this room right here seemed like a pretty good spot. I placed 3 large generators and had plenty of power to light up the entire settlement. Conduits were a bitch to place though. I don't have a lot of concrete and I can't place wires through walls, which makes sense, but it's very annoying. After half an hour of terror, the settlement was lit up and my framerate got completely obliterated. I was moving through the rooms with 10 frames per second, but I still wasn't done. Defenses were necessary to protect both the settlement and the residents from potential super mutant problems. Since this is a very high-tech institution, guards aren't necessary, only turrets. A shit ton of turrets all over the place. There are a few of them inside as well, near the super mutant testing area, just to be safe. There you have it, the Tenpines Bluff Institution has been completed, so let's do the tour. Starting from the greenhouse, the entrance area has a laser turret protecting it, and once inside we can see a large amount of plants being taken care of by the farmers. There's enough lights to navigate the area during the night. After passing through the door, there is a giddy-up buttercup on the floor that I spawned, but he fell on the ground, and I forgot about him. Going forward, we get to the medical room that has everything a medical room needs. Gurneys, rugs, beds, washers and dryers, oxygen tanks, a high-tech console panel, pictures of dogs and cats, counters with medical supplies and wheelchairs. It is the best place for anyone suffering from dickbatitis or asthmagatry. Moving on, we get to the baby statue where baby's endurance is tested for some reason that the gods didn't specify. Entering this room, we have a few different types of crafting stations that are weirdly lit up. I have no idea what the fuck is going on here with the lights, but I kinda like the ambience. This doorway takes us up to the super mutant testing area that has this hallway that has a very nice dark path thanks to the lighting and a couple of disgusting things along with some turrets for defense. The testing room has bloody trunks, a gurney if moving the subject is necessary, and a chalkboard on the right to simply write down important updates for the next shift of doctors. There are a lot of acoustic panels on the walls and the room contains everything necessary for tests. There is a radiation scanner before entering the jail to check the progress of the subject. The cage door within the jail is unlocked only when the doctor is nearby, then the subject has access to the other part of the jail. Once the doctors need to physically check the subjects, they are sedated using tears of baby dragons and placed on the bed. Testing updates are transmitted to other settlements using the microphone on the table. After exiting the room, going back down the stairs and then up the stairs on the right, we get to the outer area, where there is a super mutant altar on the left, to make sure the gods don't get angry and give the subject some crazy powers to destroy the settlement, and the power armor station on the right. Going further up the stairs, we get to the 4 Horses of Freedom shrine. This section of the settlement is used to praise the founders of this great nation and the 4 horses of the apocalypse. Turning to the left and going straight gets us to the living quarters of the 2 doctors that are in charge of this settlement. There are nice beds in the room to the right, a table with chairs in the center, and the kitchen to the left. The last room is the bathroom. More stuff can be added to this place, but unfortunately the gods chose that this is enough and granted me only around 10 frames per second to show it to you. I hope you enjoyed the Tenpines Bluff Institution. As a small settlement, it certainly feels big to me, which is something that is always nice, but I'm afraid that using it is nearly impossible with these deadly frames. Either way, thanks for watching and make sure to download my save file and try loading it up on your PC. I'm interested to see will it be able to run on more than 5 frames per second. I have been Petard, your glorious lord, and may the blessings of Petardia eternally touch your butt. Bananas for you, bananas for me. Bananas in your butt for free!